Way is the mission of choice for 1.5 million volunteers, 8.6 million donors, and 45,000 corporate partners. It's more than 1,100 communities worldwide. Hi, I'm McKenzie Whitener, and on today's show we will meet with a community leader and find out how she got started in the nonprofit world. Then we will discuss what her line of work does for the community, and finally some basic questions about United Way. So stay tuned for all this and more on the episode of The Helping Hands.
Over 7 million students miss over a month of school each year. What? Oh my God! What? There are countless reasons why you should go to school, but here are the top 5 most important. Are you serious? Reason number 5. Your child will connect with other kids who come from similar interests and backgrounds. Reason number 4. If you're not in school, how will you learn how to read?
Hey man, how do I use this?
Are you serious? Reason number 3. If you're not here, how are you going to see this PSA? Reason number 2. Your child will learn how to deal with people who are different from them. See, I can deal with them. What? Reason number 1. And most importantly, you'll become a more social person. So those are your top 5 reasons why you should go to school. So go to school!
There are more than 1.8 million nonprofit organizations in the U.S. Here with us to tell us how she got started with one of the most recognized nonprofits worldwide is Holly Furr, Director of United Way of Lancaster. Thanks for joining us and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, on the first question that I wanted to ask you is, how did you get started?
So how I got started in nonprofit work was quite by accident. There was an organization that was looking for a position of interest of mine, and so I just decided that I'd give it a shot. I had been working in state government and thought that this would be a good fit for me, and so it's really about following your passion. When you choose to work in a nonprofit, that's usually why you do it, is to follow a passion of yours.
Before you worked at United Way, where did you work first?
Before the last job that I had before I worked at United Way, I worked for the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office. I was a project coordinator for one of their federal grants dealing with the overdose crisis relating to opioids. And so that's where I worked most recently before I joined the United Way.
What made you want to work in a nonprofit?
It really is about finding your passion. So most of the time, people go to work in a nonprofit because they want to make a difference, and it's about finding what matters most to you and following that. And when you work in a nonprofit, you wear a lot of different hats, and a lot of times you're not necessarily go to school for that kind of work, but you fall into it, and it becomes just a piece of you that you want to make a difference. And so that's really why most people go to work in nonprofits.
Is there anything that you would do differently about the nonprofit that you're in?
So, a lot of times it's a lot of work, and many times you don't have the staff to help you out. I am the only full-time employee at the United Way. I have 2 part-time people that help me out there, and so you like I said, you wear a lot of different hats. So any given day, I could be writing grants or working with our donors or our volunteers, or taking care of the business side of the organization. And so you always need more help. You always need more time. You always need more money. But at the end of the day, when you go home, it's about making a difference. And when you can make a difference in somebody's life, that's all that matters.
Do you feel like you've made a difference?
I do. There are days that you begin to wonder if what you're doing is making an impact, and then all of a sudden you'll hear a story from somebody who you helped, or that a donor who was excited to give of their time or their money to a cause that mattered to them, and you know that you've made an impact in somebody's life.
What made you pick United Way out of all of the nonprofits?
I've actually worked with United Way for a while. I have volunteered with them. My kids have volunteered with them in different areas, and so I was very familiar with the work. And when Amber Jackson, who was the director before me, announced that she was leaving, I thought this might be a good time and an opportunity for me to throw my hat in the ring and see what it's like to lead an organization. And so I've just been really happy the year that I've been there, and looks forward to many more years with United Way.
What makes working there so enjoyable?
It really is the people that I work with, the members of my board, the nonprofit organizations, our partner agencies that we fund, the donors and volunteers that we get to work with, the people we help. That's what makes life enjoyable at the United Way to me. It's all the different people that I come in contact with, and making an impact in their lives really makes me feel good.
What's the biggest impact that you think you've made so far?
I think in the year that I've been there, it really is about the homeless shelter. We're still not yet open, but we hope to be soon. But it's a needed service in our community. We see people every week that need shelter, and when the shelter opens, it's going to make a huge impact in our community.
That's all the time that we have for this segment. When we return, we'll discuss how our guest is helping the community. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the Helping Hands. United Way has been around for going on 200 years. Here to discuss how they are helping our community is Holly Furr, Director of United Way of Lancaster. Thanks for joining us. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
The first question that I have to ask you is, what are some things that are like about working in a nonprofit?
So the hardest part, I think, about working in a nonprofit is you don't really necessarily have any training for all of the items that you have to do. So, if you go to school for business, you take business courses and you learn about budgets and finances and ways to operate your business. In the nonprofit world, usually the executive director is the person who's over HR, who's over the business, who's over the programs. You have to wear a lot of hats, and so you might not have all of the training in your education background, but it's more as on-the-job training, and you learn from others. That's what's great about working in the nonprofit world, is the community that you have that supports and assists one another.
What is a day like at where you work at?
Well, with the United Way, we jokingly say that there is no typical day. You never know exactly what's going to happen. We have people that stop by our office that are in need of services. We have donors that come by that want to donate supplies or funds. You just don't really know what the typical day is. So sometimes you get to your to-do list, other times you save it for the next day. But you do know that usually you're going to make an impact in somebody's life.
What are some ways that the organization has helped the community?
Right now, one of the most important things that we're doing is we're operating our VITA program, which is the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. And that is, we provide free tax service for anybody who's making less than $60,000 a year. We operate that at 2 locations, at the Lancaster County main branch on White Street and at the Dale Webb Library up in Indian Land. And so people either call our office or visit our website to make an appointment, and our volunteers are there to help them file their income taxes. So that goes on during tax season. We also have a community garden that will start back up in the spring, where people can grow fresh fruits and vegetables, either for themselves, for friends, for family. My Rotary Club got a plot last year, and everything that we grew, we donated back to Hope in Lancaster for their teaching kitchen. So those are just 2 programs that we offer. Then we have 18 partner agencies, our nonprofit organizations that have a wide variety of impact within our community.
What are some other parts in the organization that helps you alongside with what you're doing?
Well, we have an amazing board that we work with. We have community partners, our nonprofit agencies. We also have our corporate sponsors, our businesses that either do corporate giving or employee payroll deduction to provide the funding for the services that we offer, and just general support. When we did our point in time count, we had over 40 volunteers that came out to help count the homeless population. So it's really about the community working together.
Do you feel as if the community enjoys what you're doing?
I think so. I think that number is shown by the number of donors and volunteers that we get. We've added some additional people with our VITA program this year. Another way to get involved is we have a citizens review panel for all of our allocations that come in for our nonprofit agencies. And so people can volunteer to sit on that to learn more about what the nonprofit community is like here in Lancaster, and to help make recommendations for funding for the United Way allocations to the nonprofit organizations. So that's a really good way for the community to get involved and learn more about the nonprofit, and to get involved with our local United Way as well.
You spoke earlier about how y'all were opening up a homeless shelter in Lancaster. Do you feel as if that's going to be a big impact on the way that we go about day by day?
I do. I think we get calls all the time for people who are in need of shelter. Either they're unhoused, or they've been evicted, or have to move out of where they have been living or staying. And I think this holistic approach will help people get back on their feet, give them the skills that they need, and hopefully affordable housing will come next.
What is United Way? Like, what does United Way stand for?
So our mission is to improve lives by bringing residents and businesses together to impact and to develop, to know more about the human service needs in Lancaster County. So we've been around for 65 years here in Lancaster County. You've made reference to how long United Way Worldwide has been in existence, but it's been here in Lancaster for 65 years, and we're just really excited and pleased to continue that long-standing tradition in our community.
What do you think makes United Way so popular?
I think it's a way to bring people together, and knowing that your donations, either financial or your donation of your time, is making an impact in a greater way. You're not just impacting one program or one organization, you're impacting a lot more. And so I think that's why United Way, it just brings people together and then allows them to do the work as well.
Who can we contact for more information about your nonprofit?
So the United Way does have a website. It's uwaylcsc.org, and we have social media. We're on social media. We're on Facebook. It's usually the best way to reach out to us. We have an office presence here in Lancaster as well, so any of those are the best way to get in touch with us.
We're going to take a break. That's all the time we have for this segment. When we return, we'll discuss some final basic questions, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the Helping Hands of Lancaster.
I didn't become a doctor.
I didn't become a football player.
I didn't get to become a dentist.
I didn't become a teacher.
I didn't become a graphic designer.
I didn't become an athletic trainer.
I didn't become a banker.
It's not because I failed the test.
Not because I didn't study hard enough.
It's not because I didn't focus.
Not because I lack encouragement.
It's because I missed too many days of school.
Over 7 million U.S. students miss nearly a month of school each year.
Go to school. I'm late.
Giving to United Way is the most powerful way to give back to your local community. Here to give us their take on what the audience wants to know is Holly Furr, Director of United Way. Thanks for joining us. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
What do you do when someone notifies you that they need your help?
Well, if they are looking for shelter, we do an intake with them, finding out a little bit more about their background, what has brought them to this situation, how we can help and support. Until the shelter opens, we don't have shelter here in Lancaster, so our only option right now is to do a hotel voucher or to suggest that they go to a shelter, but the shelter is out of town. So if they have a job or family here that they don't want to leave, that's a little bit more difficult. And so after the intake, then we do some research about what assistance they've gotten from us in the past, or verify some information that we've been given, and then move forward with that. If it's somebody who calls about assistance with say utilities, or they're wanting a refrigerator from a refrigerator program, we refer out to where those are. South Carolina does have a service called 211 where we encourage people to call or go online, and that lists out resources that are available in their area. So if there's something that we can help with, we give them that referral, but we also give them that number, so the next time that they need something, they can call and get maybe a referral quicker than what they were able to do by calling a bunch of different organizations. If they need hygiene kits, we go ahead and give them a hygiene kit. It just really depends on what somebody comes in needing as to how we proceed.
What are the main reasons that most people get put up for hotel stays?
If they don't have a place to stay, if they have been evicted, or if their house is burned down, or if they were staying with somebody and they can no longer stay at that location. The weather's bad, maybe they've been living outside in a tent and the weather gets bad, they're looking for shelter. We've had some people call to say, they've been living outside and they have a job interview the next day and they want assistance that way. So the reasons vary, but we're able to provide, usually if funding is available, up to 2 nights at a hotel, assuming that the hotel we have a contract with is able to house them.
If someone was to come into the office needing like just your basic things, would y'all be able to provide that for them?
Yeah, so we do have hygiene kits that are available there at the office. We get items that are donated from the community. We put it in a Latch bag. Latch is the Lancaster Area Coalition for Homelessness, which the United Way operates. And you know, if they're needing basic supplies, they could get that as well. We do have, we just did our Project Connect event where we were linking services and resources available to members of the community. We had a clothing drive and hygiene items along with warm winter items, blankets, things like that. And we provided those as resources to members of our community.
What are some of the community type events that you guys host?
So Project Connect is one that we just finished up. We also have, as I mentioned in our last segment, about the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. We also have a community garden. We do Stamp Out Hunger, usually in May. We partner with the Letter Carriers Union and do a food drive for that. We also have the Stuff the Bus campaign, beginning of school, to get school supplies for the Lancaster community. And I mentioned at our last segment the Citizens Impact Panel, where we have citizens that are reviewing the applications that come in for funding to the United Way. So those are all ways that the community can get involved. Donating items is another way. A lot of times we'll do like a day of service or a day of caring, where we encourage people to get out in their community and do service projects.
What do you provide for the people that have used up their amount of hotel stays?
If we can't provide any more hotel stays, there are other organizations in our community that we can refer to that can possibly provide additional stays. Depending on the person's situation, we might refer out to one of our neighboring communities' shelters. Rock Hill has the most shelters that are available to our community, but it's a matter of whether or not they have the ability to house them, or if they're full or not, and if the person can travel to Rock Hill.
What do you do if that person is not able to travel?
Well, you know, we work with what we can. Both businesses and community support, other nonprofit organizations that have opportunities. Some churches sometimes put people up, they might have emergency funds that they do. We really try to refer out as much as we possibly can.
In the event of a natural disaster, how would you guys help?
So we work closely with emergency management for that. You know, we know that the county has a program with that, as does the Red Cross. And so anytime that there's a emergency, the United Way can assist by providing space or volunteers and help get the word out to people who might need it.
What behaviors or triggers do you guys notice about people that you see every day?
Well, I don't think there's a typical person that we see. A lot of the people that do call us for assistance for housing, they might have a job, but they don't make enough to have a living wage. You know, the stereotype for homeless that a lot of people witness is not necessarily the case for the majority of the people that we see. Most of the people we see are just people who are like you and I, they just need a little extra help to get by. I'm not saying that the people that feel like homelessness is a negative thing. I'm not saying that everybody, that there aren't people that experience substance use disorder or mental health, but that's not necessarily the majority of the people that we see.
That's all the time that we have for today. If you have any comments or suggestions, contact us at the address on the screen or email us at learntv@lcsd.k12.sc.us. You can see our content on venmo.com/learntv or on Comporium Cable Channel 114. I want to thank my guests for being on the show. For Holly Furr, I am McKenzie Whitener, and thanks for watching The Helping Hands of Lancaster.